I'm Danielle Ammon, class of 2008.
Yeah, today we're joined by 2008 graduate Danielle Ammon. Danielle's Saxon years were filled with soccer, basketball, track, choir, IB classes, and leadership. She was a district champion javelin thrower, finishing 6th in state as well. Danielle was a two-sport D1 athlete at the University of Idaho and then transferred to Western Oregon, where she played soccer and graduated with a degree in integrated science education. After college, she moved to Budapest, Hungary, to work as an intern at the American International School of Budapest. She's married, and she and her husband have 2 boys, ages 5 and 2.5. She's training for not just one, but a couple triathlons this summer, and she's now back at South teaching chemistry and IB biology. Danielle, we're so pumped to spotlight you today and celebrate you. We're recording this on National Teacher Appreciation Week, and this is our second go at it. First one, for whatever reason, audio didn't work, but I'm pumped to talk with you again and hear your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. What is this week, Teacher Appreciation Week, what does that do from a teacher's perspective?
It's an encouragement. It's the little things that you get from students, whether it's a little note or just a word of thank you, that is that encouragement that just kind of gives you that little last oomph to get to the end of the year. I had a couple kids bring in some cards that they made in another class, and it was just that, like, oh, kids thought about me. That was really sweet, and just not expected, but really, really wonderful and really encouraging to me.
You were a student here about 17
Almost
years ago?
20, yeah.
Almost 20. Yeah, we're getting up on it. Yeah, talk about your 4 years here as a Saxon.
Oh, yeah. I loved being a Saxon. It was just some really, really fun years of my life. Getting to just be with your friends constantly, right? You're in the halls and you're in classes with your friends. You're playing sports with your friends. You're going to basketball games, going to football games, going to dances, homecoming, prom, all the extracurricular things that you just got to do with your best friends. And it was just fun to do.
You were involved in a lot here. What do you remember about those experiences, the extracurriculars, even the classes as well?
Yeah. I mean, I loved being a member of the soccer team. It was really fun to just be in a group of other really talented soccer players that just loved the game. And we all went out there and did our best to win and support each other and to do our best for each other. Yeah, I mean, that's the same with all the sports, right? You know, basketball is the same way. And track, it was fun too. It's more of an individual sport, but it's so fun to, in the end of the day, come together as the girls team and, you know, get that district championship and be able to do that victory lap with your best friends holding that trophy up. And yeah, it's a blast to be a part of those things. And you know, sports wasn't my only story. I was involved with choir, and I loved being able to sing.
Yeah, rumor has it you can still scat pretty well. I don't even know if that's the right term, but yes, Zach Defoe gave you a shout out.
Yeah, I mean, I loved being in the jazz choir, but also in symphonic choir, just being able to come together with other voices and express yourself in a different way, right? Like with athletics, it's really fun to push your body, to do things, go to the limit that you didn't think you could get there in, and then go more, right? But it's also really fun to express yourself in more of a creative way. With singing, you get to come together with other voices and make these beautiful harmonies and then listen to the recordings and just like be in awe of the sounds that you created. It's just so fun to do that and have that gift or that skill.
Yeah, and now you're teaching here. What is it like being back in the school, having been gone for a few years? What's this experience like?
Yeah, it's funny. Going to high school here, I had John Valentine as a teacher and a coach, and he was just a great guy, a great coach. Really enjoyed his class, but I got a B in his class. The only B that I got in my science and high school career.
Come on, JB.
I know, but I remember him saying that he had gone to school here at South Salem High School, and I was like, really? Like, why would you come back? You know this place. Like, don't you want to get out and experience the world and do something else? And I have gone to do that. And I feel really grateful that I've gotten to experience a lot of other places. But yet, my experiences have brought me back here. And so against kind of my original like desires of, I don't want to come back here, I am back. And I feel like it's been just a calling. It's been something that I didn't plan for, but it's been really fun to have the nostalgia of walking through the halls where I also walked, to teach alongside teachers that I've had in the past, and to kind of have that experience along with, you know, having that student experience as well. It's been really special, and I feel like flipping the coin, I'm being able to give back to the place that helped make me who I am, in a way.
Your classroom, where we're recording right now, is a place where I often see the staff coming in and having lunch, and you all are in community with together. What is it about South, whether it's the staff, the students, just the culture that's here? What is it that stands out that makes it so special here?
Gosh, yeah. I think the word that I love so much about South is just unity. There's something about it that it doesn't matter our background. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter our beliefs, our you know, goals in life. It doesn't matter. What matters is we're here and we're together and we're Saxons. And at the end of the day, with the students, I see this. Might have to do a group work activity with other kids that they don't really know very well, or they, you know, they or look different, or they act a little different, but yet they're still able to enter into that, and they're able to be challenged and to be accepting, and to still join together with those differences and then celebrate it too. You know, I see that in the Unified. I love the Unified program that South has created and grown, and you know, it's over at other high schools too. But I think that's just one of the testaments to that unity, right, in the student body, of just acceptance, and everybody's in it together. And I think as staff too, we are in it together. We, as a science department, we eat lunch together every day in someone else's room, and I love hosting. I get to host on Thursdays, and it's just fun. We have fun together. We come together and we talk. We have our different subjects, but yet we're all helping each other. We all want everybody else to succeed. And that's evident when, you know, like I went to Tyson earlier, multiple times, but earlier in the year, that, hey, do you have supplies for this lab? I really want to try it in IB biology. It gives me all this stuff. Yeah, just take it. Phil Knoll makes up all the solutions for our chemistry experiment that we did last week and hands it all out. And I was able to put the print out and organize a slideshow for one of the things that we were doing. And I was able to help Heather, and Heather was able to help me. And so it's just one of those things that we're all in it together, and that's what makes this place, South Salem High School, so special.
Share about a bit about your classroom specifically. What do you hope students experience when they walk into this room and as students here?
Oh, yeah. I love to think of my room as just a safe place. Like, no matter what is going on in a kid's life outside of school, outside of my class, whatever, that they are safe and they are loved here in this class, that they can be who they are and not be afraid of judgment. I often have to work on kids' language because, you know, they're used to using all kinds of language out in the hall, but it's like, no, not here, not in my room. We don't name call. We don't use those kind of words. We are respectful of one another, and we encourage one another. And that's what I hope this place to be. I also want kids to come in and be successful, that when they put in the effort, they're going to come away with the end goal, which is passing or doing really well and learning and having fun, right? I think my biggest goal for kids would then be that they would be enjoying science too, right? But first and foremost, that they're safe and that they're loved.
Yeah, what a gift to those students. Let's rewind a bit more. You graduate from South Salem as a athlete and as a student, but you head into life at University of Idaho. share about that experience. What was that like, being a D1 athlete and eventually being a two-sport D1 athlete?
I didn't really have a plan until probably fall or winter of senior year, and an older teammate, Anna Edmonds, had gone to U of I, and so I went and visited her, and I thought, hey, why not give it a shot? I was given a scholarship and a place on the team, and so I thought, yeah, I'll try it out. Why not? I love soccer and I want to keep playing. So I went in the fall after senior year, and it was really hard. It was grueling. The workload of soccer, but also like the unknown that I was going into was just, it was hard. I didn't know anyone but Anna, and felt like, it was just kind of an abyss of like, who am I? What am I doing here? The team aspect wasn't super enjoyable. It was just a hard learning curve for me, but I stuck it out and got through the season and played a lot of soccer. And after soccer season, I kind of started making friends, because during soccer season, there was no time for friends. And so I made a really good friend who was in my dorm hall, who was on the track team. And she and I got to know each other really well. And she found out that I had thrown javelin in high school. She was like, how far did you throw? And I told her, and she was like, whoa, I think you could like do that here at U of I. And I was like, well, I don't know. So she went to her coach, and the coach then approached me and was like, hey, I think you could really do this. And so I gave it a shot. I was like, hey, why not? Javelin's pretty fun. I loved throwing in high school. It was just awesome. So I got to join the track team, but it was a lot. It was hard trying to juggle two sports, spring practices with soccer, track practices, academics too, just trying to balance it all out. And so it was a lot. So when I went back in the fall, I went back for my sophomore year and just got the feeling that something wasn't right. It wasn't bringing me life, and it wasn't bringing me joy. And I really struggled with, like, what does that mean? What do I do with that? And I didn't know. It took me probably just over a month to really dig deep in myself and know that what I was hearing in my heart was that Idaho wasn't the place for me to go. That there was a bigger plan for me, and that was back at Western Oregon, closer to home, still playing soccer, but just that wasn't the place for me.
Where does that discernment come from?
Yeah, that still small voice inside, that was my faith in God, and that voice of Jesus just saying, hey, I've got something bigger for you planned.
I have to imagine stepping away from the accolades that come, even just being a humble person that you are, the side of athletics that is, we don't quit, we push through everything. Being at the top level is the only level, and stepping away from that, what, society or even coaches or teammates, that pressure that comes in, that transition had to have come with some difficulty or some sort of, wow. It would make sense why a month would go by before you really felt like, I could make this decision.
Yeah, totally.
Was that part of that process at all?
Totally, yeah. I mean, everything that you're taught in high school is go for D1.
Yeah.
You want to play at the highest level, go for D1, get that scholarship, and you become something, right? And it was awesome, but that wasn't it. What the world thinks of as being the best, or the goal to strive for, that wasn't my goal anymore. God was telling me something different, and he had a bigger plan, that even stepping away, quitting, that was okay, that it was okay to step away from something that was going to lead me down a path of destruction, that was going to take away from my life. And so I knew I had to make that change. And so it was hard. It came really at the beginning of soccer season too. And so there was a lot of unknown with that, I want to transfer to Western Oregon, but I don't know if I'm going to get to play there, because we've already started playing here at University of Idaho. And so there was that trust, like, I really had to just give it up. I don't know. This year might be a wash. I might not get it back. But I knew that if I were to follow that voice, it was going to lead to more joy and to just the bigger picture.
Yeah, what a leap. What did you find on the other side?
Yeah, I found it was just the best decision. When I transferred to Western, I didn't play in any games because we were still trying to figure out, can I redshirt that year?
Eligibility.
Yeah, how does the eligibility work? And so I was just practicing, still kind of trying to figure out, like, what am I going to do? Who am I here? What am I going to do for school? What am I going to do for soccer? In the end, I ended up getting to redshirt that year, and it worked out perfectly because with the transfer, a lot of the credits that I did my freshman year at University of Idaho didn't really transfer to Western very well. And so I had really an extra year that I had to put in anyways. So with that one redshirt year, I was then able to play the rest of my 3 years and then graduate at the end of the 3 years. And it just was perfect. And in the meantime, too, I was able to get plugged into a Bible study, and that Bible study really made my faith come alive. I talk about that small voice that was talking to me at University of Idaho and bringing me back to Western. Faith has always been a part of my life. I grew up in a Christian home and always had that belief that, God is there for us. But it wasn't, I don't think it was truly my own until I got to Western and I got to experience life with other believers who were young people, and they were doing it on their own, and they were forging their own path, and we're all doing it together. It just really came alive to me then. And so that was really, I think, the reason that God was calling me back there.
When did science come into the picture in terms of your studies and a future?
Oh, yeah. In high school, I loved science. It started there. My freshman year, I was in the honors classes and just enjoyed learning science. But I also enjoyed, like, IB English. I had Mr. Britton as a senior, and I just loved literature too. But it got to my sophomore year, trying to figure out, what sciences to take my junior year. I know I wanted to go into IB, but didn't know which IB course to take. So knowing that I had Mr. Knoll as a coach, he convinced me to try IB Chem. And I was like, all right, I love science, why not? And it was awesome. I loved it. I fell in love with not only the content, but also just the group of people that I was in there with, right? We had a group of just intelligent, hardworking people that would come together. And I remember sitting in, Katie McCann's kitchen, just going over, we all had our books out and we're trying to figure out this one question, and we just don't know, and we're bouncing off ideas. And so it was really fun to work hard at academics with another group of people. And that's really where the love of science kind of came to be. And so when I went to University of Idaho, I thought, hey, maybe I'll do some environmental science studies. Maybe I'll be a science researcher or something. And when I ended up transferring back to Western, I just knew that being a research scientist wasn't it. And again, I had this voice in my head that's just saying, I think you should be in education. And it's funny because, again, both my parents were teachers. My aunts were teachers. Like, education kind of runs in the family, and I didn't want to do it. I was kind of bound and determined not to go into education when I graduated from high school. And here I was again, coming back to what I didn't want to do. But because of that voice, it was what pushed me into education, and specifically into science, because that was my kind of love at the time.
And you graduate from Western. What was life immediately after like?
Yeah, after graduation, I had my teaching license. I could have gotten a job really anywhere, but I wanted to try and go abroad. My mom had a cousin of hers that they had been international school teachers for a long time growing up. And every summer we would get together with them. We'd hear the stories of being in Saudi Arabia or, wherever they were teaching at the time. And it was like, oh man, I want to do that. If I'm going to be a teacher, I want to experience the world. And so I went to a job fair in Boston to try and get myself out there and get a job somewhere in the world. And that was scary in its own right, because like, here I am, I was 22 or 23, and I'd never really traveled on my own. I traveled with my family, but I'm flying, to the East Coast to a huge city. I'm from Salem, right? And doing this job fair on my own to try and get a job even farther away. And so, yeah, in the end, I ended up getting an internship at the American International School of Budapest. And I went there the next August and spent a year, and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with Budapest. I fell in love with just being in a foreign country and being able to travel throughout Europe, and all the experiences and opportunities that kind of came with that. But at the end of that year, the internship was just a 1 year, contract. And so I kind of asked him, well, what do I have to do to get back? Because I don't really want to go back to the US, but if you tell me I have to get some experience, I will. And so they said, well, you got to get 2 years of teaching experience and then we'll hire you. So I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll put my time in. So I came back and got a job at West Albany High School, was teaching science there. And that was a great school too, loved it. But again, it was, I'm going to do my 2 years of time and then I'm going back. And in that fall, I was introduced to my husband, Eric. And that story in its own is a funny one. We were set up on a blind date and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. And that still small voice was like, you should just try. You should just go out with this guy one time. And from there, you can say no. We didn't say no. And I still even struggled with, okay, I still want to go abroad though. But in the end, after really praying and talking to God about it, and the relationship between Eric and I growing, it was really clear that this is where I was meant to be. And he was where I was meant to be, who I was meant to be with. And so I stayed. And yeah. And so after we got married, I moved around to a couple different high schools teaching, was at Sprague for a while. And then we moved to Redmond over in Central Oregon. And I was there for 4 years and I loved it there. But my husband's job, my husband, Eric, he wasn't in a good spot. And after a lot of thinking and praying about it, it was really clear that we were supposed to come back to Salem. And it was I knew it was the right thing. I knew that we were meant to come back to Salem. But again, it was just, I was disappointed a little bit because I really loved where I was at. I had found a really great high school to teach at, some really great coworkers. I loved Central Oregon weather, no rain. And so it was kind of hard to make that final decision. And it was in the middle of the school year too. So for me, there was that unknown of, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I going to just sub, or do I just not teach and then find a job the next year? But then in talking with, it was actually, I had talked to Phil about it earlier in the school year, but then Megan Norris's dad, Steve Norris, who taught at South for a long time, he texted me one night and was like, hey, there's a science position open for second semester. Are you interested? And it was like, whoa, no way. Like the timing just couldn't have been it was just divine, That's the only word, that it was of God, not of me. And so I applied and got the job and started my career at South Salem High School.
Yeah, it was a slam dunk hire, no doubt. I remember the conversations that were being had, and just the way that our science department and our admin, who had been a part of the hire especially, were speaking of you and about you. You don't get that very often in a mid-year hire. And you brought in experience, you brought in knowledge, you brought in Saxon family. All of it, again, was just this amazing opportunity. So we're grateful for it and grateful for how the timing worked out too. I have to imagine too, that year abroad was formative and shaped who you are today as well.
That year abroad, it taught me so much of my inner strength, that I could do whatever I wanted. I just had to put my mind to it. Again, anytime you move away when you're a young person, it's scary, right? Because you don't know anyone, you don't know what's going to happen. There's just so many unknowns. And for me, unknowns are super scary. It's enough to make you pause. But jumping in to the unknown was able to really find the strength in myself, like I said, just to be able to, I know I can do this. I don't have anyone else to lean on except for God. And through that, then meeting friends at the American International School who also shared faith and were able to take me in like family and to just help me through those hard times. It was just incredible. But then also being able to, like I said, experience other cultures and other people, the languages, the food. It was just eye-opening to know that, there's just so much out there and that you can do anything you set your mind to. If you want to do it, you can do it. So yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Well, that launches us into our 4 big questions. These ones are brought to us by the Saxon Success Fund. If anyone is interested in who the Saxon Success Fund is, they can go to saxonsuccessfund.org. And it's a nonprofit organization committed to offering our current students, our Saxons, at least a scholarship. Anyone who wants to go into a post-high school learning environment like college or a trade school, that they've got money to pay for it. And so one, we just want to thank the Saxon Success Fund because right now is that scholarship season. We appreciate all the support that they're providing, but also to our school as well. So question 1, Danielle, knowing who you are today, what or who has helped you most get to this point?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I wouldn't be teaching science without Mr. Knoll, first of all, right? His science class and his encouragement as a coach and a teacher just spurred that love. And then here I am. But most importantly, my parents, in high school, my mom would drive me to Portland 3, 4, 5 times a week because of practice. And she'd be happy to do it. We'd pack lunches or we'd pack dinner and get home at 10 o'clock at night. And she was there, and she was just my biggest cheerleader. She was not going to let anything stop me from my goals and my dreams. And so I just thank her every day, and I'm just an awesome relationship that we still have to this day. So I love you, Mom. And my dad too. Same thing. I mean, he did everything for us to make sure that we could get where we wanted to in life. He was on the sidelines cheering for us. He instilled a work ethic in my sister and I that we will work hard for whatever it is that we want, and we will make sure that we get there because of our hard work. And so, that is just a huge gift and a huge skill to have. And then, of course, my husband, that, he's my best friend, and we get to hang out every day and just cheer each other on. In his corner, he's in mine. I can rely on him, and he can rely on me. And we're in the parenting thing together too. It's the hardest job. And so I couldn't do it without him. So.
He's involved in law enforcement. What's it like being spouse, partner, best friend to someone in that world?
Oh man, yeah, it's really hard. It is a hard job. Talk about thankless. He always says, what is it that on his average, Tuesday, it's the caller's worst day because you call the cops on the worst day. And it's hard for him because he does love to help others so much. And he feels really passionate about making a difference and having justice upheld as much as he can do, as much as is in his control, right? And a lot of times he's met with the middle finger and, obscenities yelled at him from other, cars passing by. And so it's hard. It's hard on him. It's also hard because of the schedule. The schedule is crazy. For a long time he worked graveyard, and this year he's thankfully not on graveyard anymore, but he's on a swing shift. So it means that, we just don't get to see each other very often during his work week. So it's a challenge, but it's worth it because I know that he is called to that profession and he's really good at what he does. So, yeah.
And 2 kids.
Yeah.
What's it like raising 2 boys?
Oh boy, it's busy. Yeah, they run us ragged, but they are really fun. They love to run and to play. There's never a dull moment, that's for sure. But just, they're busy.
High energy.
Super high energy. Yeah, I know. It was funny. We were out yesterday. Well, my in-laws picked up the boys, brought them home from school. I met them at the house. We then went to T-ball game. And the whole time, my 2.5-year-old James, he's just running back and forth at home. Then he's running back and forth at the game. He's just this Energizer bunny. And my father-in-law looked at me like, does he ever stop? No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just busy. But it's fun.
Question 2, if you could give your high school self any advice, what would that advice be?
Yeah, that advice would be that it's okay to walk away, that it's okay to, by the standards of the world, quit. If the Lord or if that voice is calling you to something else, that it's okay.
Question 3, what's one thing you've learned since graduation, high school graduation, that you wish you knew as a Saxon here?
Oh, gosh. I think probably that, that also that hard work will get you where you want to go. If you have a goal, then you work towards it and you put in that hard work, you'll get there.
That's great. Now that you have been a staff member and a student here, if you could transform South Salem in one way, what would you add? What would you change about this place?
Oh, yeah. First, I'd put in air conditioning in the old wing. That's on an 80-degree day. It's going to get real warm in here. So, yeah, that'd be my thing. No, there's not much about South that I'd want to change.
Well, let's jump into our rapid-fire questions. These ones are from 2009 graduate Matt Cox and his company, Saucedown Properties. So shout out to Matt for these questions. We've got a few of them. First question, though, between you and your husband, who's the better athlete?
Oh, man. I say him, but I'm sure he would say me.
How would he describe your athleticism?
Yeah, right. No, he can do anything. He's so strong and fast, beat you every time. But he's also got that mental fixation. If I'm putting my mind to it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish. Last year, he ran a marathon. He's not an endurance athlete, but he sure made himself one because he knew that he could do it if he put his mind to it.
Your favorite event of the triathlon?
I just love it all because I love to swim, I love to bike, and I love to run. And so the combination of the three is such a good challenge physically and mentally that, like, just all three. Yeah, couldn't choose.
Why is mental health such an important topic to speak on?
Without mental health, you can't function to the best of your ability. You can't be who you are without having a sound mental health. In a lot of these experiences that I've shared with today, there was a lot of ups and downs with anxiety or depression, with the changes, with the unknowns. Throughout those experiences, I've been able to find ways to cope and to manage those feelings of loneliness or the anxieties of the unknown, and so that I can be functional, so that I can still give the best to my family, give the best to my students. I mean, it's not always perfect. Life is messy and it's busy, and you have to be okay with that, but that you have to take care of yourself too. That's number one. So
that's great. Favorite book?
I love to read. The Harry Potter series, when I was in middle school through high school, was just, it was it. And the only book that I ever read twice was the number 7 book. And I don't believe in reading books twice because there's too many good books in the world to read one twice, but Harry Potter did it. Yeah.
That's great. In my office, one of my favorite authors, Bob Goff, there's a quote hanging in my office that says, "Memorize grace." And when I was telling my older daughter about these interviews, she said, ask what they think memorize grace means. Yeah. So I'm going to hit you with that. What does memorize grace?
That's an awesome question. I love Bob Goff, but to memorize grace, it just feels like, let's think about it and let's do it over and over and over and not forget it. Let's continue to give it out, even when the world says we shouldn't. Let's continue to give each other grace.
Yeah, it's powerful. And it has ended up being much more a reminder to myself as I'm in my office than it is, serving any of the students or anything like that. But just being able to see that constant reminder that grace is a abundant resource that also has this weird calculus that doesn't make a lot of sense. But when given, when grace is received and when it's given, that it returns in these pretty amazing ways. So do you have a favorite TV show?
No, whatever my husband wants to watch. I don't know. For movies, though, The Grinch. I love
Which
Christmas
version?
music, Christmas movies. The one with Jim Carrey. Yeah, the
That's good.
big furry costume. Yeah, it's good.
Favorite place to eat in Salem?
Oh, man, I don't know. We don't go out to eat much with our two crazy children,
That's fair.
but really anywhere downtown, it's all good.
You live in West Salem. Are you a Wallary's fan
Oh,
or a
yeah.
Paddington's?
Oh, Wallary's.
Okay.
Yeah, Paddington's is great too, but
Sure.
yeah, Wallary's
Wallary's.
would be where we go.
Yeah, who else should we honor or celebrate or spotlight in
Oh.
this podcast?
Yeah, I can think of a couple of other 2008 grads. I've got a list here.
Bring them.
So Megan Norris, she was my best friend through, I mean, I knew Megan since preschool, and then we were locker partners here at South, and we're still best friends. So definitely Megan. Shannon, August, now Tap, Kyla Smith, Wasberger, Kristen Haugen, Andy Duvall, Ryan McGoldrick, and Alfredo Zuniga. Those were some of the names that just came to mind.
That's great. Amazing people. Any last shout outs you want to give?
Give it up to God. Yeah, he's the one. That's it.
Danielle, thank you for this round 2. And in fact, it's round 3 now since we had a little hiccup mid-interview, but appreciate you so much and the chance to spotlight you, share your story with our students and with those who tune in to this. You are someone that we honor and celebrate as a school and as a Saxon community. So thank you for living your life of integrity, living life with joy, bringing the spirit here into this space and this classroom. Students, the reports I get in my office as a counselor are always so positive about you. Students want you as a teacher. They want to be in your classrooms, and that is sometimes really hard to accomplish, especially in the world of science. Not always the most popular, but you have found a way to make it a special place. One last question for you. Talk about the importance of recognizing women in our world, whether it's in education or just in general. What stories should we be telling? How should we be celebrating women and the impact you're having?
Women are strong. I don't know of a stronger organism. It's just women are so strong. We bring life into this world. We bring it up. We make things happen. We can do whatever we put our minds to. And I just celebrate all the women in science who didn't get the credit they deserved because of the times and of the male-dominated societies or whatever it was. And I'm thankful that we've overcome a lot of that, but let's keep going. Let's keep pushing. Women are strong.
Yeah, it's a powerful message, and thank you for speaking into that and for being someone that we can all look up to and admire. And again, the impact you're having here is amazing. So thanks for your time. We appreciate you, Danielle.
Thank you.